Did you know Ada Lovelace, the world's first computer programmer, faced countless failures, personal struggles, and rejection before history finally recognized her genius? This is the untold motivational story of Ada Lovelace, a woman who transformed obstacles into stepping stones and whose persistence laid the foundation of the digital age that we live in today. Born in 1815 in London, Ada was the daughter of the famous poet Lord Byron and Lady Anne Isabella Milbanke Byron, yet she never knew her father. He abandoned the family when she was just a baby. This left Ada with a void and a shadow of scandal, as society at the time judged her lineage harshly. To protect her daughter from what she saw as her father's dangerous poetic temperament, Ada's mother insisted that she focus on mathematics, science, and logic instead of literature or art. But imagine being a young girl in the early 1800s, a time when society believed women were incapable of serious intellectual work. Ada faced mockery, skepticism, and dismissal from men who thought her pursuits were unnatural. She was constantly doubted, discouraged, and even considered eccentric, yet she refused to be confined by expectations. From an early age, she showed a fascination with numbers, machines, and the idea of how imagination could merge with mathematics. But her journey was anything but smooth. She was often in poor health, plagued by migraines, fevers, and later paralysis, which forced her into long periods of isolation. These illnesses could have crushed her spirit, but instead they gave her time to read, study, and dream of new possibilities. As a teenager, she became fascinated with machines, sketching designs for a flying machine inspired by birds, and developing a love for invention. Despite her brilliance, she was constantly held back by society's rejection. Women were barred from universities, discouraged from serious study, and rarely taken seriously in scientific circles. Yet Ada's persistence never wavered, and with the support of her mentors, like the great mathematician Mary Somerville and later Charles Babbage, she found a place for her genius to grow. Her breaking point came when she felt crushed between two worlds: the expectations of being a wife and mother in Victorian England and her deep hunger to contribute intellectually to the world. She faced criticism for daring to step outside the domestic role, and even those who admired her often dismissed her ideas as fanciful. There were moments when she doubted herself, when illness made it impossible to work, and when rejection from male-dominated circles made her question whether her dreams would ever matter. But every setback planted a seed of resilience. Her turning point came when she collaborated with Charles Babbage, who was designing the Analytical Engine, a mechanical, general-purpose computer far ahead of its time. Babbage, often called the father of the computer, had the ideas, but Ada had something extraordinary: the vision to see beyond the machine's mechanical gears into its true potential. She translated an Italian paper on the Analytical Engine into English, but she didn't stop there. She added her own extensive notes, which were 3 times longer than the original text. In these notes, Ada outlined the first algorithm ever intended to be executed by a machine, making her the world's first computer programmer. But more importantly, she foresaw something Babbage himself did not fully grasp: that machines could one day manipulate symbols, create music, and do far more than just calculate numbers. She predicted the digital age more than a century before it happened. At first, her work was ignored, dismissed as the eccentric musings of a woman dabbling in men's work. She died young, at just 36 years old, from cancer, believing that much of her vision might never be recognized. It seemed as though all doors had closed on her dream. But history had other plans. Over time, her work was rediscovered, and she was celebrated as the first to see the true power of computing. Today, Ada Lovelace is remembered as a pioneer, a visionary, and a trailblazer whose persistence in the face of rejection transformed the future. Her story is not just about mathematics. It is about the power of refusing to accept limitations. Ada Lovelace teaches us that failure is not the opposite of success, but the foundation of it. She was doubted because of her gender, weakened by illness, and dismissed by her peers. But her persistence turned every setback into a stepping stone. Imagine if she had given up. How much later would humanity have discovered the full potential of computers? Ada's journey proves that no rejection, no obstacle, and no failure can define your destiny if you refuse to stop moving forward. She may have lived in the 19th century, but her lessons are timeless. Persistence, vision, and courage are the keys to greatness. So whenever you feel like giving up, remember Ada Lovelace, the woman who was told she did not belong in science, but who became the first programmer. The woman who was mocked for her imagination, but who saw the future with clarity. And the woman whose short life left an everlasting mark on history. Her life is proof that even when the world tells you no, your persistence can write a future no one else can imagine. A future where failure builds fortune, and where dreams once thought impossible become the foundation of reality.